All right, guys, welcome back to the Strong Life Podcast. Have another great guest, Kenny Santucci, Strong New York, the Strength Club. And I'm going to say this, Kenny. First of all, big thanks for being on here. And I want to say this to kick this off. I love that you called your gym the Strength Club because for a very long time, I was like, man, people are intimidated by the word strength and strong. Even athletes, you see, these sports performance coaches, they're like, oh, if you're lifting heavy, all this, like the world is going to end. You're too strong. It's going to slow you down. And when you
Mhm.
titled your gym the Strength Club and your massive event, just Strong New York, I'm like, finally, motherfucker doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I think it was just a simple idea of like, hey, this is something that we could all benefit from. No one's ever like, oh, it's a bad time to be strong, right? There's never going to be a point in your life where it's going to be work against you to be stronger. So I just wanted the most simple things. I was like, all right, I live in New York. That's easy. Everybody thinks New York is cool, or at least one time did. And then the second thing was, strength is just something we could all get behind. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's all a relative thing. It doesn't mean like you're the strongest person in the room, you have to pick up 500 pounds off the ground. No, it's relative to who you are, and that's the thing that I try to do at the gym is I try to meet people where they are. It's like wherever you're at right now, I just want to get you a little bit stronger and help you out. And I didn't want to call it a gym because at the time it was like right after the pandemic and we
Yep.
had so many people, we were just hanging out. It was more of a social club than it was a gym at that point because we were sitting outside. We didn't have any equipment. We were using just like bands and kettlebells and stuff like that. So I called it the club, the Strength Club. Like that's who we were, like the Breakfast Club.
It's so great. And we are my when I was like late 2000 or pre 2010, right before 2010, I had licensed the underground strength gym. And so we had some guys licensing the gym. And so I created another website for the location of training athletes and we called it Underground Strength Club. And I say a lot of times I've overthought things and I should have called it a club because when people hear gym, they assume it's like this massive place. And it's what's really interesting to me though, Kenny, is, I want to go back to what I said is strength and strong, those words, they scare people. They really do. And a lot of people, when they're opening a gym, you'll hear people say to them, hey, don't call it a gym or don't use the word strength in it. Use the word fit or fitness. And it's same thing. Like I've jokingly told strength coaches, I go, hey man, you want your, strength and conditioning facility pumping? Call it the Elite Speed Club because I don't get parents calling me or contacting me saying, my son Kenny needs to get strong. It's
Mhm.
always he needs speed and agility and core strength. Their wording is so off from what they need. And like you said,
Yeah.
I've had, I think, one athlete in my lifetime of 25 plus years coaching who was quote unquote too strong in the weight room, benching 405 in season during college. I was like, whoa, maybe not. But I love that you went for it. Did you at all doubt that a women or a woman was going to walk up and be like, I'm afraid it's strong, I'm not strong, or any kind of head trip stuff?
Yeah, I think there's going to definitely be some people who are like cautious about it, but you now have like there's a company that's killing it right now. They're called Pilates Strong or
Mm.
Strong Pilates or some shit like that, and they're all over the world. They're crushing it. So I think strength has been embraced. I think after the pandemic, it was a good reset for people to understand what strength meant, right? It doesn't have to be this like comparative thing. It doesn't have to be this competition.
Hmm.
It's simply just getting you to a better point in your life. And that's what I constantly push and promote is people just getting better. I think if we can make everybody more focused on getting themselves stronger mentally, physically, emotionally, however they see fit, community wise, if we could do that, then I think the world becomes a little bit better of a place. But I mean, listen, I look up to you. I always have because you're one of the original OGs. Obviously, you're a Jersey guy, so I admire
Let's
that as
go.
well. But for me, it's like coming up and watching you and Joe and a lot of these guys just kind of paved the way for people like me. I'm like, all right, I'm the next generation of this, kind of understanding of strength. And, you guys, I've listened to you guys on podcast. I come to your courses. I follow a lot of what you guys do on social media. And that idea of like, well, if I could get somebody stronger, then they'll ultimately become faster, more explosive. Like strength will, is the gateway drug to all the other shit that these parents think their kids need. Whether, oh, I want to get them faster, I want to get them more agile, I want to get them more core strength, whatever the fuck that is. Like,
Right.
so all those things come from somebody becoming stronger. If they're training for strength, then everything else is going to fall into place.
Yeah, and from a programming standpoint, I see you doing this with adults and it inspired me. I said, dude, we got to bring back some athletic stuff for our adults. I told my coaches, I go, we're too conservative. Let them box jump. It's like, God forbid somebody jumps on a
100%.
low box. And what's funny is a couple months ago, our morning coach, we have the two programs. We have the adult fit, which I feel like, oh, I should have just said adult strength. We have the
Yeah.
adults and then the athletes. Well, when he pulled it up on the on Wodify that we use, he pulled up the athlete programming. So one morning, our adults were front squatting and doing box jumps with a quarter turn, and we were laughing so hard. I was like, "Damn, you must have been really tired this morning." He's like, "I thought it was kind of advanced," but I was like, "You know what?" We laughed so hard. I was like, "I'm so glad it happened." Because it removed any kind of roadblocks in our head that our adults shouldn't be doing this. So he said the adults were like jumping on the big plyo box, whereas normally it would have said, chop the box in half. And so, when you mentioned, oh, you're an OG, I sometimes feel it works against me because I'm overthinking what an adult could do, but I'm almost 50. And as much as I love Mike Boyle, he equates back squatting to like slamming your hand in a car door over and over again. When I squat, my back feels better, my abs, my
Yeah.
body feels better.
Yeah, you know what? I saw that podcast that they did. It was like him, Gabrielle Lyons. Um, who else was on that?
Was it Huberman or Atia? All these
Yeah,
doctors, everything is scare tactics. I'm really sick of the polarizing bullshit.
yeah. You know what? I didn't listen to the whole podcast, so I didn't get the
Right, just the
context of
clip.
it. Yeah,
Correct.
but I think the clip was mistaken. I don't know. I haven't heard it, so I don't know what the story is. But at the same time, it's like, I love to back squat. I love to do all those things. I do, like you said, I feel better. Like yesterday, I was doing like 70-pound single leg lunges. I love walking lunges.
Yes.
In fact, I like walking lunges more than I like back squatting.
They crush you.
Um, Crush it. And it's just so good. And I think it's one of the fundamental movements that we don't touch on enough. Most people don't do it enough. So for them to, shit on some of the fundamental movements, it's a little weird. But I mean, listen, there's 100 ways we could get people squatting. I use
Yes.
a belt squat with a lot of people. I use the Rogue belt squat with
Nice.
my clients. Anybody from, you know 15 to 95 years old. I get them in there and I have them using that because it's just a simple, easy way for them to overload, but also get into that position where, they're getting something out of their squat.
It's also a mindset. If you don't believe in a squat or fill in the blank exercise, it will not work for you. Mike Boyle has amazing athletes. He's trained professionals. He always says, I'm meeting them where they're at. I'm training pro hockey players who have mileage on the body. He's like, but I prefer the front squat. I love a front squat. But for me, I think sometimes my own, what I've said is I sometimes catch myself being too conservative. And when I say get strong, people also could misconstrue it. They think strength means one rep max. I like training, and I'd love to hear how you approach training. You have a broad clientele, but I look at barbell work as work it, don't kill it, and then
Mhm.
push your intensity on your supplemental and accessory lifts, dumbbells, kettlebells. I see you guys got sleds. You've got the cardio equipment. So when you're trained, you see a lot of women there. I see a
Mhm.
lot of this adult population. Do you have a overarching philosophy that goes down to your coaches, or do they have freedom to program?
No, so I have a program. It's traditionally I call it a mix between like bodybuilding and West Side Barbell stuff. I love the West Side Barbell
Probably
stuff.
very similar to you.
Yeah, and I uh, uh, try to figure out with each individual, right? Well, so we'll obviously have big group classes. I have a ton of private training as well.
What's a
The
big
overall,
group, Kenny? What's a size number on
so
average?
Monday night I had like 22 people in class. So anywhere from like 15 to 25 people is about what we
Nice.
have. Yeah. So I try to help each individual in the group setting. I try to get my coaches to understand like this is why we program this. If you explain that to them, they'll be more bought in than they would be if you just gave them the workout. You know, you go
Yes.
to most traditional group classes and it's like, all right, we're doing this, this, and this. Get after it, and there's no supplementation, and you can't scale it up or scale it down if you want it. You know, I think a barbell is a very high level piece of equipment
Yep.
that very few people understand how to use it really well. So I want to start people with kettlebells or dumbbells, something a little bit more simple. Even machines, right? Like the machines were created so that it creates the path that people should be traveling on when they're doing a certain movement. It isolates muscle tissue, you know, and it isolates movement. So I like using some machines. I'll pull people out of class, put them on a machine,
What
and be like, hey.
machines do you
So I
have at your gym? Because your gym is it, all right, what's the
so,
size of each of them? You have two
so my
gyms?
yeah. So the gym in Jersey is 20. The gym in New York is 2,500 square feet.
Nice size.
And then, yeah, and then the one in Jersey is 3,500 square feet.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so like I have the new concept to strength ergs. So a lot of people who, you know, can't squat that well, I'll put them on the strength erg and it's kind of like a leg press. We'll get that. I'll have them goblet squat instead of back
Yep.
squat. Um, we have the you know, instead of having them do pull-ups, I have lat pull down machines on every one of the racks in Jersey. We have a low row, so I'll have them use that sometimes for like
Yeah.
different movements. But in New York, I have a plethora of different shit. I have the Booty Builder 45 degree hyper, so I
Yep.
use that a lot with a lot of clients. For those of them who, you know, can't quite understand how to move through a hinging position, I'll put them on that and have them just come up. That good way to get them hinging a little bit more efficiently. Um, you know, I'll use TRXs a ton. That's one of my favorite tools for squatting, hinging, pulling, pushing. You know, you could easily teach those fundamental movements. But yeah, I start with the seven movements. It's like push, pull, you know, lunge, hinge, squat, and then any rotational stuff or any like locomotion. Try to get everybody kind of moving in those planes of motion and getting them to understand what we're trying to do at the end of the day, how this relates to normal life. And then we'll scale it up or scale it down from there. If they need to use a TRX to squat, I'll have them do that. If they're a little bit more advanced, I'll give them a kettlebell. A lot of times I'll start people with like Xerxes squats. Obviously, certain people don't like having the bar in their
Right.
elbows. That's when I'll use the belt squat instead. I'll put
Yes.
that on their hips. So there's different ways I try to simulate the same movement and not have them kind of feel like they're getting put into a bad position. I've worked, you know, a lot of my clientele now, my private clients are 55 plus. So I like working with an older demographic. One, they have no complaint. They have all the time in the world. They have the money to spend on private training. You know, it matters so much more to them than anybody else because they feel a difference right away. You know, most people in, you know, feel good after a workout, but like somebody who's older, you know, you instantly see it. For instance, you know, I tell people the story a lot. When my dad was sick, he was in the hospital 3, 4 days on end. He would never even get out of the bed. I'd get there, I'd pull him out of bed, I'd make him walk around, and he was just he had dementia and you know a ton of other shit going on. But he was so much more receptive. He was a little bit more on the ball the days after we worked out. The
Uh,
days after I took him for a walk, the days after I made him like grab my arm and pull himself up and grab my arm and pull himself up.
yes.
So the more we moved, the more his brain was working, the more his body was working. So I saw it firsthand. I didn't go to school for this. I'm not a doctor, but I used, you know, myself and my family as guinea pigs to do all this stuff. My mother's 76 years old. I've been training her for 12 plus years. She goes to my gym in Jersey. You know, there's 100 things that most women at 76 wouldn't do that my mom does. You know, and she was always typical Italian woman. She's short, heavy set. But she, we have her in the gym every day, and it's like we scale and measure it down. So my whether they're an older population or even kids, like I started doing kids classes out in Jersey, and like little kids, like 4 or 5 year olds, and
Whoa.
yeah, and they just see what other kids are doing. They want to sprint and they want to run and they want
Yes.
to push the sleds. Sleds to me are like one of the best exercises because one,
Yes.
it's so much output, you get so much out, and the risk of injury is next to nothing, you know. So,
Correct.
so I try to get people pushing sleds. I try to get people to do heavy carries, just the simple strength stuff,
I'm the
you know. That,
same. I
yeah,
love that. I always
I
say three
I've taken a
things:
lot of
sled,
stuff.
carry, calisthenics. You got to do those three things.
Yeah. And yeah, push-ups and pull-ups I hammer people with. So
Yes.
Monday we'll do push-ups and pull-ups. Wednesdays we'll do push-ups and pull-ups. Saturdays we'll do push-ups and pull-ups. Like I hammer that all day long. You'll never get too good at it. It's one of those things that and if you want to stay good at them, you have to keep doing them.
Oh
So
yeah.
I make the kids do them. I make the adults do them, and we'll scale and measure it for whoever it is. But like you're getting stronger when you're doing those exercises.
They keep you honest too. I always say, like, okay, I'm struggling on pull-ups, carrying too much body fat, tighten up the eating, get on that echo bike, more cardio, finish eating earlier in the day. Like they keep me honest. They give you feedback about where you are. And it's interesting that you talk about like training your parents. Adults get hurt when they fall, they can't get up, they don't have the bone density. But Kenny, you mentioned training athletes. I'm at a high school and I've seen this with the athletes. Girls will break a wrist and arm from falling during soccer, lacrosse, field hockey. Football
Mhm.
players will dislocate or strain the shoulder and AC joint when falling because too much like shitty benching, shitty cleaning, not enough walking on your hands, not enough push-ups, not enough pull-ups. And like even
Yep.
behind me, I don't know, can you see my screen, my background,
Yeah,
Strongest Shelves?
dude,
Yes,
I love
that
your stuff.
book is from before I was born. I think the first edition was 74. And so Bill Starr incorporated a circuit training because there was not enough equipment when he started training guys out of Hawaii. They would clean, bench. Oh no, they would clean, squat, military press. A lot of now everybody has a bad shoulders. So it's interesting just the stuff you're talking about. You're doing it for adults, but I we've said this a lot at my gym with the coaches. Hey, athletes could do this. Our morning group with the adults, we would just add sprinting and box jumps to what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think sprinting's super important. I mean, even at my age, I'm 42. The days I sprint, I feel so much better. You
Yes.
know, It's you're pushing that top end, and that's what we're losing. We're losing the top end. So how do I keep pushing myself into that top end speed, top end strength, right? I want to continue to kind of use those muscles as often as I could for as
Yes.
long as I possibly can.
What's I think do you have the curved treadmills in your gym or what do you have there?
I use the curve treadmill, so there's no governor on them, so they'll go as fast as you want them to go.
That's how they work, right? What's the brand you have?
Salt runner.
Assault Runner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are those guys in Connecticut?
Yes, they're somewhere in the Northeast. So yeah, they came out with the bikes first, and then they came out with the
Yes.
treadmills. Yeah,
Do you know who Brian Moss is?
Brian Moss. No.
Damn, I have to introduce you to Brian. So Brian, he reminds me of you. So I'm going to be 50 soon. So I knew of Brian from the bodybuilding magazines in the 80s. Brian owned Better Bodies Gym in Manhattan. Did you ever hear of that
No,
gym?
no.
Oh my God. So it was initially like it was a gym, and I think he just called it Better Bodies. Maybe he called it Better Bodies Gym, but he didn't want it to look like a traditional gym. And so your branding, I remember I was like, my God, Kenny is so artistic. It reminded me of Brian. So Brian's gym would have like chandeliers and different kind of mirrors, and he was training pro bodybuilders, women. And so the women bodybuilders of the 80s were just drop dead gorgeous. They had these amazing, beautiful physiques. And so then when he sold that business, there's guys that are now running the Better Bodies brand. I think they're out of the gym in they're in Destination Dallas. Ken, are you still there, buddy?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. They're Destination Dallas. So Brian
I know that
is
gym.
Yep, they carry better bodies, but you got to look up the OG better bodies. And Brian lives in North Jersey, very close to I think not the Holland, like closer to the Lincoln, I believe. But he was a photographer, and or he is a photographer, but he did a lot of those early days Universal slash Animal Pack photo shoots, like Squat Till You Puke.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
him.
yeah. No
I
shit.
hope you guys, I have to try to introduce you guys, but he's such a artist. And so when I see the branding of your gym, the shirts, I'm like, man, this shit's real. Because Kenny, I like to be very transparent. Sometimes I catch myself wondering, should I do like look at this shirt? A lot of people loved this shirt
Yeah.
with the guy deadlifting.
I
But
love
some
stuff like that.
I love what I see at your gym. The walls, even there was a quote on like a recent Instagram you have, like in a world of like sharks and what does it say?
Yeah. In a city of sharks and wolves, be the beast.
It's fucking amazing. It's
Yeah.
probably what's on everybody's mind and in their heart, but they don't say it. So
Yeah.
talk to me about what is influencing and inspiring your creative part of coaching and building the gym and the art that's kind of all through your gym. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, art influences life, and for me, it's I was always a huge fan of artwork. I was a art major in college.
Mm,
I grew up drawing comic books and tattoos and cartoons, and
I
I've
didn't know
always
that.
loved it. Yeah, so I always wanted to incorporate that into the space. And I read this quote years ago, and it said, "Nobody realizes how important art is until you need it."
Mm,
Because think about it, whether it's your logo or it's the design of your space, right? Art is so important. It gives people a certain feeling. People buy on feeling. So they
yes.
want to feel like they're a part of something. And whatever that is, you mimic that through the artwork. Um, so I wanted this outdoorsy kind of playful feel with the green turf and the white walls and the wood on the walls. So I wanted to feel very earthy, and the basically a jungle that we have here of concrete. Um, I want to invoke that feeling. I wanted people to feel comfortable. That's why I put the couches in and things like that.
I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And I wanted, because I wanted it to feel like a club or, make people feel comfortable in the space. And then with the artwork, it was just like what I thought strength was or what I thought New York was when I was a kid. So my gym in New Jersey, we have in the bathroom, there's just a black and white collage wall of all pictures from the Jersey Shore
Mm.
from like the 1970s and 80s.
Asbury
And
Park, freaking
yeah,
awesome. Yes.
Wildwood,
Yeah.
Point Pleasant. And then in New York, I have a wall of like all the movies that I grew up with in the 80s, 70s, 80s,
What
90s.
movies? What do you
I
love?
mean, God, I mean, from New York City, it was like Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters and
Yes.
yeah, you know,
Ghostbusters was freaking amazing. I mean, movies from the 80s make you feel. And now people are kind of creating these like AI throwback videos on Instagram with like talking about the magic of growing up in the 80s. The
yes.
movies, like buying a movie ticket for $2 and just seeing what was on the screen, like E.T. and of course the Rocky films and Rambo film. My God, they made you feel alive.
Well, I think like this is what I don't get nowadays, like what people think is cool.
Yeah.
We grew up in the best time, right?
Yes.
The epitome of, being a little kid and watching Masters of the Universe with Dolph
Yeah.
Lundgren or Rocky. Like these are these larger than life, and then watching wrestling, Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man. Like these were these larger than life personalities. These are
Right.
when I was a kid, I'm like, or like even Top Gun, movies like you're watching
Yeah.
these movies, you're like, this guy is the guy I want to be. Like as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, I remember being like, I want to be like those guys,
Me
you know?
too.
And they, even now, they still dictate what you believe a guy should be, Rambo, Command, Predator, all
That
these
was
movies.
everything for me. Kenny,
Yeah,
what movie do you see today where you go home and start doing something from the movie? Meaning
never.
you
Yeah,
watched
yeah,
Rocky, you went home and did push-ups, and then you had dumbbells and an easy bar under your bed. You went running immediately. You saw Commando and you were like, oh my God, I'm going to go to GNC. I'm going to buy some supplements and hide them
Yeah.
from my mom. And I'm going to
Yeah.
friggin' do push ups every morning and every night. And that was a different kind of inspiration than, say,
What?
somebody coming to your gym and my gym and saying, I want to see my abs. I want to more surface driven until kind of what you were saying earlier, feel strong. That
Hmm.
feeling.
But I think we were all like, I mean, listen, these are all blockbuster, massive movies. It's not just guys going to see it. Like everybody was inspired by it. There are women who come in the gym and they're like, "Oh, I love Rocky. It gets me motivated." You hear the music, you get fired up. Like it, it moved a generation, right? You watch some of these movies,
Crazy.
it made you feel alive. Like I just went to go see the new Superman movie. I liked it, but there's no part of it. I think it was the montages of people training. Like we just got a booth last week or 2 weeks ago at Comic-Con. So I did a strong New York little booth at Comic-Con selling our shirts and having people do
Where
pull-ups
was
and
Comic Con? In the city?
in the city at the Javits Center. But
Okay.
I set up a pull-up bar and a mat, and we were having people do push-ups and pull-ups there. And I tell people like after you're done, you're gonna feel better. Like you do a
I
set of
know.
push-ups and pull-ups as many as you can, and you're gonna feel better. You're gonna feel stronger.
Yeah.
And you know, just like you said, when I was a kid, at my third birthday party, my parents had a Hulk Hogan impersonator. That
It's
Christmas,
amazing.
yeah, that Christmas. Now I remember it because probably I saw the videotape of it, but like that Christmas, my parents got me, and my nephew's 4, and my other nephew's 2. They love Hulk Hogan because my
Yeah,
my brother-in-law watches like old uh WrestleManias and
of
shit with them,
course.
and they like love ripping their shirts off and they want to do push-ups and stuff. Like that's what we saw, and like that always feels good. Like I've never
Yes.
left the gym and said, oh man, I really shouldn't have done that workout. So there have been generations of people. It's like your generation, my generation, the kids, after that. Like I think kids are now obsessed with bodybuilding more than ever before, and women, the girls that I see. I was just at Olympia. There are more girls there, you know who are trained to be bodybuilders. They want to
Yes.
perform. They want to be on stage. They want to,
That's
they're
very
all
interesting.
flexing. It's
Yeah.
incredible. And you look at these social media influencers, like a lot of these kids, it's all these young bodybuilder kids.
Yeah, they're really, I'd say to a lot of strength coaches, I go, listen, these teen athletes are going to listen more to Sebum and
Yeah.
Sam Sulek
Yep.
than they'll listen to those guys a million times faster than they'll listen to the most popular strength coach in the world. Like, hey, I'm gonna bring in Aaron Wellman from the Giants. He's gonna talk to you guys about training. But guess what? The next day I'm gonna see kids on a tricep bar doing this for wrist because they saw Sam Sulek doing it. They're
Yeah.
more influenced by that
Yeah.
than yeah. And so this is why I was asking you, Kenny, about machines and the kind of the vibe of your gym because I've had conversation with people that if I move locations of the underground and change it, I've said it would need to be more of a club, more of a hangout place where I'm getting coffee, I'm going to lift a little bit, then I'm going to do my work here. And I also feel like we don't see the muscle on people like we once did. And so, like you said earlier, they need machines. And while I was asking you what machines, I would be looking to buy some of the original hammer strength machines,
Yeah.
and of course, some of the Nautilus stuff. And when I go to, when I was traveling with my daughter's tennis, sometimes I'd be like in New Hampshire and I'd find a 24-hour gym that had this quote unquote old equipment that you don't really find unless you're like out of these cities. So I feel like even a strength and conditioning facility needs bodybuilding now.
Yeah. No, I totally think so. I think, people used to give what's his name? Who's the bodybuilder? Black dude who won like 6 times.
Ronnie
Um,
Coleman or
no, not Ronnie Coleman.
not Lee Haney, Phil Heath.
No, Phil Heath. So
Okay.
Phil Heath, like guys used to break his balls because all he did was he only used machines. He never used the
Right.
barbell. So, but they say he's like one of the healthiest bodybuilders right now because of that. I don't
Mm,
know cause effect. I don't know what the
sure.
case is, but at the same time, it's like I like a combination. Like I work out every day. I try to do something every day.
Yep.
Sometimes I want to put a barbell in my hands and just rip weight off the
Yeah.
floor. I love using a trap bar for deadlifts. I love, there are days where I'm just like, I got to just back squat, put a bar on my back
Hmm.
squat and bench press, whatever it is. And then other days I just want to go in the gym and use
Pump.
machines. If I had the room for it and I'm looking at eventually opening up some other spots, like I would have so many more machines. But like in my gym, I have Rogue equipment, I have Nautilus, I have Panada, I
Oh,
have
wow.
Booty Builder.
Yep.
Yeah, I love going to other gyms and like doing reviews and stuff and trying out
I
other
see
equipment.
that.
I love Gym 80 is a great new brand. They're
Yeah.
awesome.
Is that what Gunner has outside? It's like the outdoor equipment.
Yes, yes, that's
It
what he has.
looks very smooth.
Yeah, it's a really nice stuff. I like Gym 80. I like Arsenal. I think they
Yep.
have this great, like
Machines.
straightforward,
Yes.
simple machines. I love old school hammer strength stuff.
Me
I
too.
mean,
There's a guy near me, Kenny, if you ever need. He's in Manasquan. They buy, refurbish, and sell. They're right near my gym. And so
really,
you know your buddy Jerry is here. Yep, they have a little storage place. And I drove by one night. I was lifting and I see the garage door open and I saw equipment and I turned around and they're getting a lot of older Cybex, older Nautilus, and they said predominantly being shipped to Europe. I said,
really,
"What?" He said,
yeah,
"Yep, a ton of this stuff is going to Europe."
dude. I'll tell you what. I was just out in Dubai last year. I went to the Dubai Muscle Show. The Middle East is obsessed with bodybuilding.
Yeah, well,
People,
what's his name moved out? The gyms are massive. They wipe their butt with $1 million bills, so it's not expensive. Um, that big influencer, Larry, a lot of I've seen bodybuilders and trainers have moved to Dubai.
yeah. Well, I mean, listen, the money is overflowing over there. They don't know what to do with their money.
Who are they
That's
training? Who are they training?
I think
Royal, I mean,
Yeah, I think the average person over there, one, has disposable income, and two, they prioritize health and wellness. It's a movement over there. Think about it, as much as we're obsessed with what we do,
mhm.
there's a lot of people. Think about how many people just in the town of Manasquan don't even have a gym membership, let alone think about going multiple times a week, right? So I
Oh,
say that all the time.
tons.
I with my event, why I partner with so many other gyms, I go because we're not going to do it alone. We're not going to ever, cure the world of everything that's going on in it.
Talk about your event a little bit. And I'm embarrassed to say I have not been to Strong New York. It's like
You
it bothers
every
me that I
year we
haven't been
send
there.
every year we send you. I make sure you're on my list of influencers. So all my influencers are never like these hot young people. It's like you, Joe DeFranco, Gunnar Peterson, Luca Hocevar,
I may
Jake.
have been at when was the event? What was the date? It was a month ago.
It was God, what September 26th we did it?
Yeah, I think may have been my daughter's in college now, so I've been traveling to her tennis matches. That may have been the parent weekend. I feel like I was in
Yeah, no, it was well,
PA.
that's why Don didn't come. He had parent weekend up at his daughter's school. But no,
Talk
the
about it.
the event is basically I want to get everybody together. I want to celebrate health and wellness. It's the same reason why Comic Con became a thing, or the Food and Wine Festival. The Food and Wine Festival is just a collection of all the restaurants in New York City under one roof. People could go and try all this stuff. So I wanted to do the same thing for the fitness space. I wanted to get all the top studios. I wanted to get the chiropractors, the physical therapists, the doctors, the cold plunge places. Put everybody under one roof. Let everybody come and discover what else is out there. Because a lot of people are, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. It's like, well, we take all the guessing out of it and we put it all under one roof. You could spend the whole day there. You could do a couple workouts. You could listen to the top speakers and professionals in whatever space we had: longevity, plant-based medicine, training, GLP-1s, anything that people are hearing on social media. I bring in all these experts. You could go and sit and hang out for the day. There's healthy food there. I have all like some of the top new restaurants in the city. Impact Kitchen, which is an incredible place to go eat. No seed oils. It's all regenerative farm grown food. It's some of the best stuff you could get in the tri-state area. So that's what I try to do. I try to throw this basically a fitness festival in New York. because there was nothing else like it. And but there was one for every other industry. There's the boat show, the car show, Comic
That's
Con,
right.
Fashion Week. I was like, well, there's not one for fitness, so let's do that, you know?
It's got to be a crazy undertaking because I
It
just
takes me
see it.
all year. It takes me all
It's
year.
insane.
Yeah, and not to mention the 10 years that I've spent building it. You know?
What was before Strong New York? Like did you do an event before that that was
No,
smaller or
no, no. So when we started, I mean, we've been doing a smaller version of it for a long, like they've only been really big for the past like 3, 4 years now.
Mhm.
But prior to that, I started in the basement of my old gym, and we just started like, I was like, I wanted to do this. I wanted to put the pieces together and, grow it grassroots. And that's what we've been doing. But, I went to Summer Strong, and I went to LA Fit Expo, and I went to the Arnold, and I went to the Olympia, and I went to FIBO, and I went to Perform Better, and I was going to all this stuff. And I go, none of it's in New York. How is the
Great. Yeah.
greatest,
I
how's the
love New
greatest
York
city in the
City.
world?
I
Yeah.
still love New York with all the crazy shit going on there. I love it. I was in New York a couple weeks ago to consult with the Columbia University wrestling team, and
Oh,
I was like,
nice.
"Damn, dude! Like you feel the energy. It's friggin' electric. I
Yeah.
just love it."
There's just too many people to not be a great place, and
Right.
that's what, if the goal was to be around less people and um, kind of enjoy yourself, there'll be more people on these deserted islands. But New York City is the most over-inhabited place on the planet. There's more people here. There's more shit going on. And the best thing about it is the people, right? We gravitate towards people. We want like your area is blowing up now because there's more people. There's more stuff to do. There's more restaurants. There's more coffee shops. There's more, gyms. There's more of everything. So it's like my goal is to get more people understanding like, hey, we should be eating healthier, we should be living well, and I believe that it could cure the world by doing more stuff that helps us all out.
I love the abundance mentality. You're like, I'm gonna bring people together. And
Yeah.
you mentioned Comic Con. That's where I kind of came up with Underground Strength Con is this gathering. And I got so frustrated anytime I'd come across popular information. It was always this extreme and polarizing stuff like, don't do this, only do that, do this, and you'll live longer. And I love that you're like, I'm just bringing everybody together and we're going to be open-minded and you could kind of go and learn from whatever you want. Um,
Mhm.
and Austin has a lot of these events. I used to do certifications in Austin, and that was like at the height of CrossFit. And our certifications would have you were mentioning all these women into bodybuilding. The women outnumbered the men at for these certifications, and they were all CrossFitters. They were jacked, they were ripped. It just blew my mind. And you would see a CrossFit on this side of the street and on the other side. That was their thing, is like they didn't fear having so much proximity, which was pretty wild. But it's cool to see that you're having that. Where are you in are you downtown in the city?
I'm in, yeah, like Midtown. I'm on 28th and Fifth Avenue,
Oh yeah,
some
Midtown.
like in the middle.
Yeah. So in when I was early days starting my business, I had heard of the Gladiators gym in the West Village. I think it was in like a Seinfeld episode, but it was in the or was that the East? Oh no, it was in the East Village. It was Alphabet City area. It was near like
Okay.
the old Limelight and all that, like the clubs. And they used to make equipment. Like I guess there was like a little courtyard in the middle, and the guy would weld everything. But I had heard of that gym, and I was ready to go there and buy equipment that 20 plus years ago buying equipment there was nobody like this guy in my town refurbishing stuff. I would have to make it all, and there's just was something about that New York City vibe. Lou Ferrigno's gym was in Brooklyn, and there's so much history in the boroughs of the city when it comes to strength training. Even like Coney Island was known for the circus strongmen.
Yeah. I mean, like New York has always been a place fascinated by health and wellness, but it was never brought to the forefront. It was never celebrated. There's never been, as far as my knowledge goes, and I've looked it up. I've tried to find things
Yeah.
on events and stuff like that for New York, and there was nothing. Obviously LA has owns the title for that with all the, pumping iron stuff, right? All the old school Arnold stuff and like the outdoor gyms and, yeah, Gold's
The
Gym, all
the
that stuff.
weather. The
Yeah.
weather lends itself. It's so, that's the only thing I miss or I wish we had is that weather.
Well, I think we appreciate it more. Like when the
We
summer
do.
comes, we get so excited. I mean,
Yes.
people are now buying multi-million-dollar homes down by you now because
Correct.
everybody wants to be at the Jersey Shore.
A lot of New York people moved to Manasquan and these surrounding areas when COVID happened because they weren't commuting into the city. They didn't, or some people were like, "Hey, I could buy." So we train a guy. He lives beachfront. He's like, I worked in the city. My wife works in the city, and we were going to buy a townhome for 1.5 million, but we decided we'll just buy, a beach house for 1.5 million down by you and commute to the city once a week." Um, I want to like I don't want to like crush your time here. I'm so inspired by everything you're doing. You mentioned I didn't know you were like an art major in the tattoos. So like the tiger and all who designs that? You do?
So I come up with different ideas. Obviously, like, no one's ever, when anybody's like, oh, we came up with this original idea. No, you get inspired by different stuff. I'm easily inspired by artwork that I've seen everywhere, and I try to blend things that I appreciate from other genres, like I said, comic books and tattoos and cartoons and wrestling and all this stuff. And I try to, kind of wedge it into my gym and like what I like. There's a lot of stuff that I like. I love fashion. I don't really like some of this crazy weird shit, like some of the crazy high fashion, but that kind of trickles down into what we do. So a lot of the shirts, we just did a full line of stuff for the last event this year. That was all more like streetwear, like a little bit boxier of a shirt, baggier sleeves, longer sleeves. So
Hmm.
it's like what's relevant right now in the fashion space. And then we were like, all right, we'll kind of take this and make it our own in the fitness space. And like a lot of the younger kids like to wear these, like they call them the pump covers, so they wear this like baggy shirt over,
Yes.
either a sports bra or a tank top or something like that. So we wanted to do this like pump covers. We did, sweatpants and shorts and things like that. So a little bit more fashionable. When we were growing up, right, everybody just wore like, mesh shorts and a cotton t-shirt. But now it's like people get dressed up. They'll walk around in gym clothes all the time. So
There
we wanted
was
to,
you're so right about the people will wear gym clothes. Kenny, you're mentioning like your clothing design. I'm a little bit older than you. I'm like 8, 9 years older than you. Gorilla Wear was in the basement of World Gym Denellen. And
yeah,
that was what guys were wearing in the 80s. You would see Mike Christian, Lee Haney. That was kind of that group of bodybuilders I grew up around. That tiger, now that I think of it, didn't Rocky have a jacket with a tiger on it? I don't know if
yeah,
it represented
yeah.
Eye of the Tiger or what it was.
Yeah. So I went with like a panther because I wanted this like
That's,
kind of jungle theme.
yeah,
Um, so like a panther is more representative, like even like in the Jungle Book, it was like a panther. So
yeah.
I wanted to stick with that jungle theme. So I put a panther on a lot of that, and then there was a band called Steel Panther that I used
I
to go see
heard of
all
it.
the time. Yeah. So they were like an
Where did you
'80s
go to
cover
see
band.
them?
They used to
CBGB
play.
days?
No, they used to play in LA all the time. And when I was
Ah,
younger, in my 20s, I'd go see them all the time in LA. And then it's kind of a throwback to one of my favorite things ever is 80s metal music. So it's got that like Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue.
yeah. They
So I
had
tried to
some.
pull from that. Yeah.
LA had some cool stuff. It was on. I don't get to watch too much TV, but sometimes at like 9:30 at night, I'm like, "Oh, I'm just going to turn on TV for 30 minutes." My son and his girlfriend were over the house, and we had dinner. And they're like, "Dad, what are you watching?" I was like, "This is Point Break, Ethan. All right,
Oh,
1991. My dad took me to Blockbuster to rent the VHS." And I don't know this new Point Break, but this OG one, I couldn't stop watching it. Like the music, the surfing, just the kind of wildness to it, and very much how you're like inspired to your gym by this 80s rock. Um, I've always kind of been inspired with those like old school vibes as well. Let me ask
Yeah.
you, Kenny, do you ever in the business decisions for New York Strong and the Strength Club, are you ever like, what do you do when you're doubting a decision you're about to make from a business standpoint? Who do you consult with? What is the thought process?
It's a great question. So I don't know if you've ever met Christy, but Christy's kind of like my right hand in the business.
Okay.
She's very smart. She's more of a literal thinker. I'm more like kind of big ideas. She's more like straightforward. She went to Villanova, very smart girl. When I start going a little over the top with like my ideas, she kind of like checks me. So she's great. I check in with
Nice.
her a lot of times. And then I have you know, my buddy Jerry, who you know
Yeah.
very well, very smart businessman.
Yes.
And him, and I have two or three other buddies that I'm really close with, and I have a couple clients who are very intelligent and
Oh yeah, I bet.
own businesses and run businesses. So I always kind of check in with them. But at the end of the day, it's like I like making a lot of my own decisions, and I never I take into consideration what a lot of people say, but at the same time, I like gambling. If I'm going to gamble on something, I want to gamble on myself. So what a lot of times I'm like, instead of me taking $10,000 and putting it in the stock market, I take $10,000 and put it back into my business and hope it works that way.
Hmm. Are you looking, being in the city and in North Jersey, to buy a building or possibly, you mentioned, I know you do some high-end personal training. Has any client said, this hasn't happened to me for a bit, but I remember in the early days of the underground where there was not a lot of strength facilities, people would reach out and be like, hey, I would partner with you. I'll put money in this and be a silent partner, or I'll get the building. Have you considered going down the road of holding an asset like purchasing the building so it's another aspect to the business?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would love that. No one's ever really approached me about it before. But having an asset like that would be amazing. There have been opportunities that have come up. I've talked to Jerry about it. I've talked to some other people about it. Um, but nothing's ever come to fruition. But I was even at an event last night where I was talking to the guys where they manage a lot of real estate here in the city, and they're like, hey, we want to put a gym in this space. So I'm talking to a couple guys about potentially putting a gym in a space where like I'm always very blue collar thinking. I'm like, well, I got to rent a space and I got to pay rent and I got to do all this stuff. But I'm like,
Hmm.
what if I didn't have to pay for rent? That's the goal, right? Because then I could keep a lot
Yes.
more of what I have.
Yeah, or
What
if we're
I'm looking-
not doing the gym thing, but we would always have some aspect of it. I always
I'll
feel
always
like,
have a gym.
right,
I, t-
if
I say that all the time. It's like even during the pandemic, I started buying up equipment when gyms were closing down and stuff because I'm like, no matter what happens, I need to know I have one of my own, even if it's 1,000 square feet. I want to have all the shit I need to have in there because I want my own gym.
well, let me ask you this before we shut it down. It's almost 5. You do all these visits to these other gyms, and then of course you have your own club. I sometimes go into a gym to buy a protein shake to see what's going on.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm honestly, I'm like, I can't do this. Everybody's laying on the bench, sitting on the machine, on their phones. There's not a lot of this like camaraderie going on. So what you're visiting all these gyms, are you picking up on something that you feel is just not right?
Yeah, like at the end of the day, I've never been like a geek when it comes to like celebrities and stuff. Like a lot of people are so obsessed with celebrity. I've never been obsessed with that. I'm a fan of people who do what I love really well, and there are people who have built out gyms better than I could ever imagine doing it and do really cool things. Like I admire everything that you've done up to this point. And I came to your
Thank you.
gym when you had Matt Wenning there, and you had
Yes,
Franco and stuff. And I came down there, and it's like just learning from you guys the way you guys approach strength and stuff. Like I geek out on that. Like I'm a fan of yours,
right.
and I want to see what your gym looked like and how you laid it out. And I admire the people who do the things they do really well, and in any field, but like obviously most importantly in the gym space. So I go to other gyms, I review other gyms, and mine's not perfect, so I never shit on any what anybody else is doing, but I give my opinion about what I really like about it. I never, it's like going to a restaurant and being like, oh, the fucking caviar was shit. It's like, oh, who am I? I'm not a fucking caviar expert. I'm like, I really like this. I really like that. If I were you, I'd go try this.
Yep.
So it's the same thing with the gyms. I'm like, I really like Arsenal. I really like Panada. I love that they had the combination of this. I like that they went with this piece instead of this piece. So I go in, I give my 2 cents about like what I really liked about it. But at the end of the day, I'm a fan. I want to go check out other gyms. I want to hang out at other gyms. I'm going to 2 gym openings, one in Jersey and one in Philly in the next like 2 weeks. So next week, my buddy is opening up Iron Culture in West Orange, which is going to be, it's an unbelievable space. I was actually
I
there.
think I've
Uh,
seen maybe do they
it's
have another locate? I've heard of a lot of
yeah,
iron.
yeah,
There's another.
everything's iron this and iron that nowadays. So there's an iron culture, there's iron revolution, there's iron fucking, there's a new one, iron atmosphere or some shit now
Do
in
they ever
Jersey.
feel like people are getting confused with what's what or
Oh, I would be. I mean, I know a lot of the guys involved in this stuff, so I don't, but I know there's definitely people who are like, oh, are you guys related to all the other irons? But the guys who are on iron culture, great guys. They're building this 25,000 square foot place. They ripped apart a bowling alley and built this awesome gym right in West Orange. I own a gym not too far from there, and I'm promoting it and I'm bringing people by because they're a different entity than me. And
it
if
is
somebody else
different?
wants to,
Yes.
yeah. So, but if people want to go there, it's like I'm not going to hold them back, right? I want people, obviously, I want to make business money in my business, but
Yep.
like for me to pretend like they don't exist or that it's not a great gym, I'd be an asshole to. So, like, I push people. I do what I do really well. We do small group strength classes for people who want to be a part of a community. If you want to go to a bodybuilding gym and go do that, then you go do that. To build that gym out cost them $7 million.
Dude,
I'd say
that
somewhere
is
between crazy.
ballsy. That is guts. Yeah, it's crazy. It's beyond ballsy. It's
Yeah.
nuts.
It's crazy. So, but at the same time, it's like then another friend of mine's opened a they call it power building. So it's like a powerlifting bodybuilding
Sure.
gym.
Yeah.
It's in Philly and it's unbelievable. And this guy that I went to one of his other gyms in Pennsylvania. He's got like 3 different gyms in Pennsylvania. Beautiful space, does a really nice job picking out the equipment, has a great culture there. I think that's what people need to lean into. Where do you feel at home? I think
Right.
every motherfucker should stop working out all the time at home. I have gym equipment in my apartment. I rarely ever use it. It's there for like emergency purposes only. But I think people need to get out. I think we need to start hanging out with more people,
Yes.
making gym culture the new bar, the new nightlife. Go to gyms, introduce yourself to people, hang out, work out, get healthy, and live a better life.
I agree with the going out. I'm going to check out some real estate in a couple weeks in South Carolina, and I'm flying into Charleston. Have you seen Joey Welling, Ethos Athletic Club?
Yeah,
It's
I see
yeah,
those are sick. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly.
there are
It's a
guys who are doing
hangout.
some, yeah,
Yeah,
there's guys who are doing some really cool shit around the world, around the country. Like,
correct.
when I was out in London, I was checking out gyms. I try to go everywhere. When I was in Dubai, I visited like 3 or 4 different gyms. There was one gym I went to in Dubai. It was like a regular, beautiful gym, all Panada equipment. And then there was a room off to the side. It was like a pin code to get into there. And all the equipment was gold.
Oh
It was made of
my
gold.
God.
It was some chic, some guy goes out there. That's his gym to use inside this other gym. And every piece of equipment, it was all Panada equipment made of gold.
I've seen some gyms have this like beautiful area, air conditioned. Then you open a door and you go into the quote unquote old school dungeon, no AC. And I think that's cool too. And I think you're right. People are going to go where they want to go. And sometimes people, especially we train athletes, when they're done training for sport, they kind of want to get away from somebody telling them everything to do and the intense pace, and they want to go bodybuild. And sometimes I have to tell parents it's okay because they get emotional. They're like, "You've trained Kenny since he was 12. Now he's 18. I don't know if he could leave." Kenny could leave. It's another chapter. Kenny needs to move on. He's not necessarily outgrown the place, but he needs to write this next chapter of the book. And sometimes the parents are very emotional about it because they're afraid of what's going to happen next. I'm like, this is part of growing.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. I mean, I think I, as a gym owner, and I own 2 gyms, as a gym owner, I have four different memberships, right? I have a gym membership to a CrossFit gym, a jiu-jitsu gym.
Oh,
I
that's
go
right.
to I go to a I go to a bodybuilding gym in New Jersey. I have a bodybuilding gym membership here in the city. I love my gym. I love working out with my members. Some days I want to do that. Some days I want to lift on my own. Some days I want to go do jujitsu. This is my lifestyle. This is what I do. It's okay to spend money on fitness. And this is what I fucking hammer in people's heads all the time. People have this idea that you should pay the bottom of the barrel prices for gym memberships. Oh, well, why would I go to your gym when I could spend $40 on Crunch Fitness? Go to fucking Crunch Fitness. If that's what you think of
Sure.
your health and wellness, $40. I could also go and get a cheeseburger at fucking McDonald's for $2, or I could go to Fort Charles Prime and have a fucking $50 cheeseburger. You get what you pay for.
It's
You want to go there?
interesting.
Yeah. And people are like, oh, I could get the same workout. Go, but you will work out 30 to 40% harder. And you know this just as well as I do when you're with a group of people who are highly motivated, when you're in a good environment, more than you would by yourself. Arnold
100
Schwarzenegger.
times. Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, the best bodybuilders, the best lifters, the best athletes in the world, all had trainers. Michael Jordan is the absolute fucking GOAT when it comes to any sport. Shaquille O'Neal, they all had trainers.
Tiger Woods.
Tiger
Even
Woods,
man, I was reading, I know we're gonna cut it here. I'm studying a lot of business as I'm prepping up for Underground Strength Con, but I'm reading this one. I go back to this magazine a lot, Renegade Millionaire. I don't think you could see it because of the friggin' background, but the guy was talking about like the golfers. He's like, why do performers use coaches? He goes, when Arnold Palmer needed to tune up his game to compensate for his age, he hired a 26-year-old swing coach. So Arnold Palmer, I don't follow golf enough or any of these other sports, but that dude was one of the masters. And he's getting a coach. Kenny, the way I get people to understand what you're saying is, you mentioned West Side Barbell. I go, if squats are all equal, why aren't we all squatting 1,000 pounds like the guys at West Side? Oh, they're on drugs. They're this. No, it's who they're around. I drive a
yeah,
car, but so do the guys at NASCAR. It's the
yeah,
same thing, but
yeah.
they're doing it a lot differently. Or uh, basketball. Michael Jordan shoots hoops, and so do you. How do you do it? Jordan Burroughs shoots double leg takedowns. He's a gold medalist in the Olympics. You also shoot double leg takedown, and you're on the JV wrestling team. You're technically doing the same thing. How you do it, who you're around. That's why you're a coach. You believe in it. You believe
Um,
in it.
Yeah, yeah, no, I listen, and you can't sell what you don't buy. I
Yep.
couldn't sell something that I wasn't buying myself. I believe in group training, I believe in community, I believe in exercise, and if I wasn't doing it myself, then I'd be a hypocrite, and shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I can't work at Mercedes but sell and or drive around in Mercedes but sell BMWs. It doesn't make
Correct.
sense. You know,
You live the damn thing. All right, my bro. I will link up all of your social and website in the YouTube and on the blog. But what about just announcing what's important for people to know about Kenny Santucci, the Strength Club, New Jersey and New York City, Strong New York. What else?
I mean, that's it. Just check us out. I got my podcast, Strong New
Yes,
Podcast.
I love that podcast.
Yeah,
Your last guest is or a restaurateur
yeah,
talking about
yes,
just like excellence. Freaking
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I just had two great chefs on. Both guys. One guy started Scarpetto, which is a huge restaurant
I've heard of
here
it.
in my
Yeah.
city, and they have them around the world. And then the other guy was Daniel Boulud, who's probably, in my opinion, the greatest chef of all time. I mean, the guy's well into his later years, and he's still in the kitchen, making, everybody's dinner, going around shaking hands at every table. And that's what I admire the most is like guys who are doing it better than I have in
Yes.
any field, in any industry, and he's making it look easy, and that's what I want to do well into my later years. I want to have a gym, people come in, I hang out with everybody, I'm working out. I want to continue to live that life because one of the first questions I got asked as a kid when I said I wanted to do this, people are like, well, what are you going to do for money? Well, how long could you do this? Well, you can't do this into your 50s
They
and
still
60s.
don't think it's real. It's so
Yeah,
friggin'
yeah,
they still say what yeah. I got two movie recommendations for you before we shut it down. Well, documentaries. Have you
shoot.
seen Bones Brigade documentary?
No, what's that?
I'm not even telling you, dude. I'm just
Okay,
saying
Bones
you got to
Brigade.
watch Bones Brigade. What about the recent podcasts? Um, I don't know if it's called Gyro or Gyro Dreams of Sushi, Jiro. Did you see that?
No,
My
Gyro
guy.
Dream.
All right,
Uh,
so I think Gyro Dreams of Sushi could be a possibly a date night documentary. I don't know, but I think you're gonna love it. And Bones Brigade kind of reminds me of you. Like, I think you're gonna love it. So those are documentaries. I don't even know where you could find them anymore. I watched them a long time ago. I'm sure they're on YouTube or one of the, you know, paid channel networks, but those are for you, Kenny.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're the best, to be continued, and I hope you could do a swing by at Underground Strength Con. We'll see you there, my
I,
bro.
I will be there. Thank you.
Later, my bro. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Later.
Kenny, hang tight.